Welcome to this English Reading Level 1 paper from the Legacy format from Pearson's. We're going to have a look at some have the sample paper on this particular recording session to see how you can perhaps approach it. But just in case you're not aware, you've just only been given this link, there is a whole channel for Provista with sample papers here on YouTube. So if you use the YouTube search facility Provista FS, you should then see, when you press the search criteria, the little orange circle here should come up with Provista FS. If you go into there, you'll find a whole range of papers that is currently being built up, a portfolio of English, Maths and ICT for your delectation and delight. So we're looking at a level 1 today for all this particular recording. And what you generally have with these is two tasks that you have to write something about. So that can be like writing a review, writing an email, writing a formal letter. It can be a combination of things that you can actually do. But they'll have all some sort of basis and something that you may have to do in the workplace. So what I suggest you do is just quickly put this recording here on pause for a moment and you have a read of the question here. Okay, so you've had a read through now. What I'd also say to you as well is please feel free to take screenshots of what you're looking at here, or take photographs or with your camera phones, or take as many notes as you like, as this will help your revision. So let's just look through. Information. One of your relatives is planning a family day out. Your relative asked family members to suggest a good place to go for the day, no matter what the weather. He thinks the place should have things to do for people of different ages and somewhere for the family to eat and drink. Now we come to the actual task. Write an email to your relative suggesting a suitable place for a family day out. In your email, you should suggest a suitable place for the family day out, say what there is to do for people of different ages, explain why everybody would enjoy this place, use sentences and write standard English. So make sure you're using necessary punctuation, grammar, checking your spellings and so on and so forth. Now with these tests, you will get a certain amount of grace for the occasional spelling mistake or the occasional grammatical error or punctuation error. However, you need to try and make sure that you keep as accurate as possible. What I suggest is you use as simple language as possible. Don't try to be fancy with it. Just keep good, plain, simple writing, because that is what will score you the points. It is useful to have a variety of punctuation here, so question mark, exclamation mark, perhaps something in speech marks may be of use. That can maybe get you extra marks. All right. So what we have to consider here is what sort of things can you write? Well, this is the sort of time when your mind goes blank in the exam. Well, try and remember a family day out that you've had, somewhere that you've been. So, for example, let's pick, I'm an Essex boy, so let's pick Southend Pier. All right. That could be a suitable place to go because you can get the train along to the end of the pier. You can walk to it. It's well known at the end of the pier for Jamie Oliver's restaurant. There's a cafe at the end you can go to. There's an R&I shop you can go to, and you've got the viewing platform. You've got the telescopes, and you can look at the ships going up and down. And perhaps, for example, you can ride out there on the train, and then you come back. You walk. Then perhaps, that's perhaps one thing for certain ages. Then perhaps another thing for other people might be the Adventure Island amusement park they've got there. You can go there and there's rides for all ages. You buy your wristband and off you go. You've probably got the Dodgems for the young at heart, and some of the sort of more vibrant roller coasters, shall we call them, for the younger people who might enjoy those sort of things. And there's a sort of very sedate big wheel there. You could also perhaps include as well afterwards, if everybody's feeling all right, you could go around the corner to the, I think it's called the Three Seashells or something like that, and you can buy yourselves fresh donuts. So there's a thought straight away you could actually do, and and say why you think you could enjoy it. Everybody would enjoy it. Well, there's going to be something there for everybody, hopefully. Okay, so we're going to do next slide. We will have a look at let me just double check, but we'll have a look at potentially what I wrote. Okay. So the example that I've used here is a day out at the Bressingham Scene Garden. So you'll have a format where you will have to write. In this case, I'll give you a template where you can write your email. You might feel that you want to plot a couple of ideas beforehand. Feel free to do so, because it gives you some ideas and things we want to write. So what we have here is quite an informal way of communication. So it'll probably be a informal way of communicating and a formal way of communicating and writing in these tests. So what I'll do, again, if you just like to put yourselves on pause a moment, and then you can read through here, see if you can spot any mistakes that I may have made. Have a read through, and then once you've had a read through, click on play again, and I'll start talking to you again. Right, so this is the example I used here. It's my cousin David. He lives in the Cambridge area. So it's all thought makes sense really. We thought somewhere we could all meet, and a good place we can all meet would be the Bressinghamstein Gardens in Diss, and just on the Suffolk-Norfolk border, because it's all just off the A14, off the A12, and it's easy for everybody to go to. Also have an association there because I used to sell their plants many years ago on a mail order line. But I've tried to keep it nice and chatty. Hello David, hope you and the family are well. I think we all go to the Bressinghamstein Gardens. It's easier for us all to drive to and essential for everybody. Bressingham has a museum with all different types of steam vehicles which are good to look at. But most importantly, it has several steam train rides that we can all take. All different routes from little trains to slightly bigger ones. Surely everyone enjoys a steam train ride, from the small children to the older children. There's also a merry-go-round, steam-powered of course, which would be great for your kids. Bressingham is also home to the National Dad's Army exhibition, which I know you will like. There is an excellent cafe, restaurant serving well-priced meals with special deals for children. So there is something at Bressingham for everyone. Why don't you look at their website and see what you think? See you all soon, Matt. Now, have you noticed my 2 mistakes in this? Deliberately put in there, because this is important for you to make sure that you actually double check what you've written, and also it's a good exercise for all of you when you're working in a work environment or sending messages to proofread your work or get somebody else to proofread it, or perhaps if you have a computer that can talk back to you, or Google can do this as well if you copy and paste text in to talk back to you. So if I come down, 3rd line down, I think we all go to the Bressingham Steam Museum. I think we should all go to the Bressingham Steam Museum. So there's one error. If you got that, well spotted. And there, the other one, have you found it? 3rd line from the bottom. There is an excellent cafeteria restaurant serving well-priced meals. I've actually written there is an excellent cafeteria restaurant serving well-priced meals. So again, that's emphasising the importance of checking through what you're actually doing and verifying what you're writing. So we're now looking perhaps a little bit more formal. Now, one of the favourite things they like to do is bring in something that's to do with an internet forum, and you have to write some comments on it. So what I'd like you to do is just read this through, put yourselves on pause for a moment, again so you have a break from my voice, and read through the question about Maria and what she's gone through, and then we'll look at the writing task we have to do. So again, just put yourself on pause, have a read through, and I'll join in a few moments' time. Right, so you've had a read through. So we have Maria here with her experience, not being very happy. How many of us had a similar experience in retail, where people haven't helped us from places we've gone? And the task is essentially to write contributions to shopping work forum about your own experiences. You should say whether or not you've been treated like Maria when shopping. Describe your own experiences, whether good or bad. Include advice for people who are treated badly in shops. Now, one of the things it is always easy to do is to write about a complaint. It's human nature. I used to work in retail. I used to be a retail manager. And the only thing you'll ever hear about is the complaints. Very rarely do you actually hear about anything good. If you have had a good experience and you can relate that in, brilliant, do so. It's really good to do so. But as I said, human nature being human nature, you can probably find it easy to write about some bad experience that you've actually had. So that can be whether you've gone back, you've ordered something online, you've gone into the shop, like computer parts selling, and it's not there. Or you've gone in to buy something at a well-known computer store. That's a favourite one, based on my experience. And you ask to buy it, they haven't got it in stock. You ask then to buy the display model. They won't let you sell the display model because they need it for display, and the whole sort of situation revolves from there. So let's go and have a look at the example I've written. I think I've probably already given you some heads up on that one. So again, what I'd like you to do is read this, See again if you can spot any errors I've put in deliberately, maybe, perhaps. So put yourself on pause, have a read through, and then once you've finished, press play again. Okay, so here we go. My experience. Retail trade always seems to be complaining that people are no longer visiting shops but buying goods online. I can see why. I have now been to the same electrical shop twice to buy something, and each time the goods are never available. The example I will use is a Hoover. You spend time looking at all the different models and finally find the one you want. When you finally find a member of staff to help you, they all seem to disappear at that critical moment and ask the Hoover you want. The reply is, sorry, we do not have the item in stock. You then ask when the item will be back in. The reply is always, we do not know. Next step is to ask to buy the display model. Well, why not? You may be able to buy it at a reduced price. For example, sold as seen, just go off the text a little bit. However, the reply is always, sorry, we cannot sell the display model as we need it for display. But when you reply that they do not have the item in stock anyway, so what is the point of displaying something they cannot sell? The shop assistant just walks away, not even bothering to recommend an alternative. My advice is to purchase online. You can see if the item is available and you can see when the item will be delivered. Furthermore, you can do all of this in the comfort of your own home and not waste time and fuel to driving to a shop which may not have what you want. In addition, delivery is often the next day. Shopping online, to me, is only a win-win-win. Well, okay, circumstances are a little bit different at the moment, but we're taking this as from what we might normally experience when things are normal, so to speak. So, again, I've given a description. I've tried to use a variety of different punctuation in there, brackets, I say 3 dots when you sort of want to leave a comment a bit unaided and ended. I've used my speech marks, used my question marks, used my exclamation marks. So there's a variety of punctuation going on there. These are simple ones that you should use. Always keep the story simple. Don't try and be complicated. This is actually an example that did actually happen to me last year. So it's something that's fresh in my mind. So again, if you want, keep this in mind and you can use this for your own example. So again, with the English writing, it's very important to make sure you regulate your time. You're fully aware of the time because it will creep up on you. You only have a certain time limit. There will be an element of creative writing in this because it might be something you're not necessarily familiar with, but you have to go with it. Shopping online again was a good one. Problems you've had shopping online, problems you've had when you've gone to a tourist resort or a hotel. So again, it tries to get you to do something formal. It might even be writing a brief letter for a job application or something like that. So again, remember with that, if you start with Dear Sir, Madam, you will always sign off yours faithfully. If you start off with the name Dear Matt, for example, it will always be yours sincerely. So remember, you're always sincere when you know their name and you're faithful when you do not know their name. So again, what I suggest, go back and have a look in your own time. Make sure you've taken your screenshots, your photographs, and so on and so forth, the screens here. Have a read through, have a digest, and perhaps something to do a little bit of your own time, quietly, is have a go through and try and answer one of these yourself. Thank you very much for your attention.